In today's video, I'm gonna show you how you could make $10,000 a month as a creator without even leaving your home studio. Now, for a lot of creators out there, we can easily fall into the trap that we can't make money because we don't have the right gear, and because we don't have the right gear, we can't get the clients that we want. We limit ourselves by thinking that that specific camera or lens that we've been desperately wanting is the answer to our problems. I know that I've at least fallen into that trap, but what if I was to tell you that maybe gear isn't the solution? Rather, it's putting in the hard work and using that creative muscle to get the job done. And to prove my point, I challenged myself to make 3 different client videos without even leaving my YouTube studio. That's right, I didn't use a single camera or go out and shoot anything, and this is what I was able to come up with.
The future isn't coming, it's already here. A shift is happening in how we create, how we connect, how we think. Some will ignore it, the curious will explore it. Are you ready to see what's next?
There are moments when God whispers something new, a stirring in the soul, a dream waiting to be awakened. This is a conference for the dreamers, the builders, the ones called to love, to serve, to create. It's more than a gathering. It's a beginning. God is pouring out His Spirit. Are you ready to dream again?
You came home, but something stayed back there. The silence is loud, the nights feel longer, and no one really gets it. But you don't have to carry this alone. Asking for help isn't weakness, it's courage, it's strength, it's the next mission.
Not too shabby, if I say so myself. I feel like all 3 of these clients would be thoroughly happy with these videos that I created for them right here in my own YouTube studio. Now again, these 3 clients were just hypothetical clients that I made up. The first video was for a future startup company in the tech space. The second video was a church conference opener. And then the third client was a nonprofit helping veterans. I thought it would just be fun to come up with 3 different clients from 3 different worlds to see if I could come up with different kinds of client videos for each one of them. For each of the 3 videos, I only use creative assets from this episode's sponsor, Artlist. Everything from the music, the sound effects, the cinematic stock footage, the voiceover, and even the color grade was made using the creative assets from Artlist. So let me break down my creative process of how I created all these 3 videos. And then after that, we're gonna talk about the monetization side. We're gonna talk about how I would use these types of videos to get paid, or to at least use them as spec ads to get future clients to get paid. So the first step in my creative process in creating these kinds of storytelling pieces is coming up with a concept or idea. Obviously, if these were real clients, I would have a preliminary meeting with them to hear more about their company, their organization, their mission, what their needs are, and what they hope to accomplish with the video, and where they plan to post the video. All these questions as a creative will help not only with the storytelling and the message behind the video, but as well with the practical side of creating the video. For example, it's a whole different story creating a landscape video for a landing page on a website versus creating short form content for a social media channel. It's really important to know what is the plan for the video and what's gonna be the final destination for it. Obviously, because these were make-believe clients, I just came up with the concept or idea myself. So I took some time to write down some ideas or thoughts for each client video, and then I turned to ChatGPT. Because I myself am not the best copywriter, and I'm just gonna admit that to you all right now. I do often have lots of creative ideas and thoughts for a video, but I just don't know how to eloquently put those down onto paper. For each client video, I would explain to ChatGPT that I'm a filmmaker making a client video for this type of client, and then I would tell what the idea for the video is, the message of the video, the mood, etc., etc. And then I would ask ChatGPT to write a voiceover script for the video, because I wanted the voiceover to really drive the storytelling and then add visuals to that. From there, I made some minor tweaks with prompts to get the best voiceover script possible and to have the right duration. Step number 2 in my creative process was creating the voiceover. For each client video, I really wanted the voiceover to drive the storytelling in the video and then support that with visuals. So naturally, of course, I went to Artlist and used their AI voiceover tool because I am no voiceover artist. If you haven't checked it out yet, Artlist has a bunch of different voices that you can use to create your own voiceovers. There's male, female, different accents. You can have American, British, Australian, I think even Indian. So there's a lot of variety when it comes to different voiceovers. For each client video, I played around with the different voices and accents to get it just right for the voiceover, as well with the speed and the emotion. But recently, Artlist has actually made a big update where you can actually upload your own audio and then make different AI voiceovers based off of it. This helps get the perfect tone, pace, and inflections for your voiceover. Basically, you can let Artlist AI voiceover tool know when you want more emphasis on a certain part of the voiceover and to be more dramatic, and maybe in a certain part where you want to be more quiet and a whisper, and the AI voiceover tool is going to follow the audio track that you uploaded. Really, it's totally up to you then what kind of voiceover you want to create. Step number 3 of my creative process was finding the cinematic footage. Now, I know when you think of stock footage, often you have this initial thought, this cheesy, corporate-y looking footage, but that's something of the past. Artlist has cinematic stock footage. They literally have professional filmmakers that go out and film just really great looking footage for you to use in your projects. So what I did was I threw the voiceover into my timeline and then listened to the voiceover and wrote down different kinds of ideas for visuals that would drive the story. And then I started looking through the Artlist catalog. Now at this point, I'm not too worried about downloading the exact perfect clip. It's more like creating a mood board and a project folder with a whole bunch of different clips that I could potentially use to drive the story in the client video. When you are browsing through the catalog and downloading clips, just make note that there are different quality of clips. You have HD, 4K, ProRes, and even log at times. Some people might want to just have the ready color graded footage just to speed up the editing process, but for other people, maybe you want the full control when it comes to color grading and you're gonna download the log clips then. I was able to surprisingly fast find all the clips for the client video, and once I had done that, the next stage of my creative process was finding music. For each client video, I knew that I wanted them to be quite cinematic and emotion driven. Some more epic, some more hopeful, and then some even a little bit sad. I also knew that each of these videos were gonna be quite short because they are more just trailers for clients. So I knew that I should change the duration of the song to smaller amounts. So I went from 30 seconds to 1 minute. That way I don't need to have a really long song and try to just cut a piece of that song and just awkwardly fumble with it. Whereas instead I could download a song that's been purposely created to be shorter and easier to use. Again, I found this whole process of finding the right song for each client video quite quick and easy because there's just so many different filters that you can use to search for the exact type of song you're looking for. You can filter your search by genre, mood, theme, and even instruments, and you can make it so exact and precise to what you're looking for. Once I had my voiceover, my cinematic footage, my song, it was time to start editing. I made sure that I was editing to the beats of the song as well as the voiceover to really enhance the storytelling of each piece. This is a lot of trial and error, putting in clips and taking them out just to see which clips would work best together to tell the story. There's no really science to it, it's more just feeling it out and seeing what works best. In the first film for the startup tech company, I obviously wanted that video to be a lot more epic, so the pace was a lot quicker. Whereas then the client video for the nonprofit helping veterans, the song was a little bit more slower paced, so the footage changed a lot slower. Keep this always in mind when you're editing and ask yourself, what's the emotion that you're trying to convey with your piece? Think about how is pace gonna come into play and what visuals are gonna best help tell the story. Because at the end of the day, you wanna keep your audience engaged with the pieces that you're creating. Once I had edited the footage to the voiceover and music, it was time for step number 5 in the creative process, which is sound effects. Sound effects are that subtle extra touch to really make your video come alive. For finding sound effects, Artlist again has literally thousands of different sound effects that you can search for and use in your projects. And although sound effects can be often tricky to find, Artlist actually has a really cool feature where when you click the different cinematic stock footage clips that you download, it's gonna have a suggested sound effects for that specific specific clip, really making it easier for you to find the exact kind of clips that would best help support your footage. You also have a bunch of different search menus to choose from, like ambience, Foley, genre, musical, realistic, and transitions to really help you filter through the different sound effects to find what you're looking for. For each client video, I literally went through clip by clip and just thought in my mind which sound effect would help that visual piece come alive. And then I would just search and download sound effect by sound effect. Not every single clip needed a sound effect, but there was definitely a lot of sound effects that I added into each piece. I mean, here you can just see the timeline alone to see how many different sound effects I added to each piece. Then step number 6 was the color grade. Because I was using stock footage from different filmmakers and there was a different look to certain clips, I wanted to bring in a unified look to the whole piece. Artlist makes this really easy to do because they have a huge library of LUTs that you can download from. I used the Justice LUT, which gave this really cool blue and orange look to the videos. All I did was add an adjustment layer to the whole client video and then put a custom LUT, select the Justice LUT, and then I brought it down to around 45%. Just to give it that subtle look, but not overwhelm the footage and just take over. As you can tell, for the first client video, it gave a really nice blue tone for the video, giving this kind of sci-fi look, which is perfect for a tech startup company video. Of course, if you do want even more control for the footage and color grading, then I would recommend downloading the log clips because then you have full control with the grade. Once I was done with the color grade, I added little crop bars just to give that nice cinematic effect to the videos, as well as captions so it's easier for people to follow along with the voiceover because I wanted to make sure that people got the message of the video. But that, in a nutshell, is how I created 3 different videos for 3 different clients, all without leaving my YouTube studio. Now, I know some people are gonna object and say, Teppo, that's not even art. You're just using stock footage. Or how could you charge a client for content that you didn't even film? I know that stock footage or AI generative video is never going to completely replace filmmakers. At the end of the day, it's just a tool, and like all tools, it totally depends on how you use it. The thing is, some projects are gonna require original footage. You need to go film a certain location or a certain subject, and stock footage or generative AI, it's just not gonna do. Other projects might need a mix of 2. You might film some of the footage yourself, but you might need to fill in some of the gaps with stock footage. And then some videos can be made completely with stock footage, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not laziness, it's just creativity with intention. In fact, I would be bold enough to say that in many situations, it's not even worth it to go out and film everything. Or it's just not possible with the time constraints or the budget that you've been given. I remember back in the day when my brother and I worked at a church, we would literally spend so many hours creating different kinds of videos. And I remember one year we created this conference opener video that would literally be seen for maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute. And we spent so much time filming original footage for that video. And to be honest, I feel like we could have saved so much time by just using a mixture of stock footage and then some footage that we filmed ourselves rather than filming everything by ourselves. Because at the end of the day, the video got watched just 1 time at a conference and that was it. As well, a lot of nonprofit organizations or churches or companies just starting out don't have the budgets or even maybe the time to invest so much into just 1 video. So instead of just doing nothing for them, you gotta use what's in your hands. And I guess that's the whole point of this video, to inspire you guys to realize that with that creative muscle, you're able to accomplish a whole lot more than you could ever imagine with the resources you have. All right, let's break down the monetization side of how you as a creator could make $10,000 a month. Well, if your goal is to make $10,000 a month, you gotta break it down. How many videos is that per month? Maybe that's 4 videos a month at $2,005 each. And ultimately, all you gotta do is find 4 clients that you could make a cinematic video with stock footage, for example, that you've downloaded from Artlist. There's a lot of companies out there that want maybe a more generic or abstract video that doesn't necessarily need you to go out and film a specific subject or a location. Rather, with stock footage, you can piece together a great video for them. Now, for all the doubters out there who just don't think a client would ever pay for a video that's just been made with stock footage, at least use stock footage to make spec ads. Because it's a whole different story reaching out to companies saying, hey, let's work together, versus you taking the initiative to already create a spec ad showing that company or brand saying, hey, this is what I would love to create for you guys because I think this kind of video solves these kinds of problems for you. Taking that extra step alone is gonna put you above so many other creators because it shows that company or brand that you really care about what you do and you're passionate about helping other companies with your skills. But yeah, that in a nutshell is how you could use your creative muscle, not the gear that you don't have right now, in order to make $10,000 a month. Anyways, let me know which client video you guys enjoyed the most because I'm very curious to hear. As well, I would love to hear from you all. What are your thoughts about using stock footage? Do you use them in your creative process? Have you ever made videos totally with stock footage, or do you just mix them in with your original footage? Let me know down in the comments. And as well, if you're not yet using Artlist, they have been kind enough to offer my audience 2 free months by using the link in my description. So make sure you sign up and start using Artlist creative assets because they are insane. Point proven in all of the 3 different client videos that I made in this video.